Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and today we're going to be talking about STEM Inc. And yes, this is another STEM video, and we're going to do a state of the market type of video here, as the company is currently sitting just under $1 billion in total market capitalization. This is following a very strong Friday where the stock increased by nearly 45 cents to a closing price on Friday at $6.05. Now, last week was a weird week because the market closed early on Monday, and then it was closed entirely on July 4th. And that meant that overall liquidity, or those trading last week, was very low compared to normal weeks. That being said, if we're talking about STEM in particular, and we look at what's happened since the last time we had a video on them, in particular, the last earnings call here at the beginning of May, you can see that the stock came from where it was about $4 a share, where again, the big concern here was, is the company going to continue to execute? And it has gone up more than 50% since that point in time, to about $6 a share. That being said, as you can see, I have the year-to-date numbers right here, and the stock did start off this year around $9 a share and increased to over $10 a share. So the question is, where is it going now? And that is primarily going to be dependent on what the company continues to do and if it's going to continue to execute. Just as a simple reminder, when we talk about the company itself and their numbers here, and in particular their income, this is being or occurring on a quarterly basis. So the reason that I highlight that and the reason that I want to bring that out in this conversation is because for STEM in particular, their Q2 numbers closed last week on the 30th of June. So that means that they're going to continue to compile the numbers, and they are going to be showcasing their GAAP earnings here soon. And you can see that we are expecting another just hope we hit the numbers type of quarter in Q2. So Q1 of 2023 was barely above Q2 of 2022, although it was nearly 100% increase year over year for Q1. And that's important to note because STEM is very cyclical in terms of their revenue recognition. There is always a big Q4 push, and they recognize a lot of their revenue as they have a lot of those larger projects get delivered upon at that point in time. One of the things that we're going to be watching going into this next quarter, or rather the next quarters of announcements, is if they are going to be able to target or show strides towards the cash adjusted EBITDA, or rather the cash flow is going to be positive for the company. Down below, again, just looking at their numbers here available in TD Ameritrade, you can see that net income dropped by nearly $45 million. However, they still have plenty of cash on hand, so I'm not necessarily worried about them from a cash burn perspective. In fact, we can look at their cash flows right here, and you can see that in terms of the overall cash going out the door, we're still only looking at that $36 million drop, which is well inside their balance sheet expectations, or what they have in terms of total cash and cash equivalents of about $206 million. While that doesn't give them a ton of runway if they experience that current burn rate, they've continuously said that they are going to be expecting second half of 2023 on a adjusted basis. They expect it to be positive income, with 2024 being positive total net income. So what does that mean as we approach earnings here in the next month? So the first thing that I would call out is earnings are going to be on August 2nd, and that is generally, or has continued to be, ending or after market hours. So some of the things that we're going to be looking for is is there any new news? You can see that we continue to have really nothing exciting happening for the company. We do have a lawsuit from a group, the litigation partners of James Wilson, who is currently looking to do a lawsuit to the company in case you have lost a lot of money in the stock. Something that I always highlight is this has happened with a lot of SPACs. I would say it's the equivalent of ambulance chasing. That being said, that if there is something that they come out and they highlight that there has been fraud or something else, then that would obviously cause me to change my opinion. That being said, outside of that, I would simply remind that all in all, as you can see through here, we really aren't getting a lot of news from the company themselves. It's really just, can they continue to execute? And if so, where's the stock going to end up? Just from an overall valuation perspective, I would remind everyone watching this video or investing in STEM that right now they are not positive on a PE, price to earnings perspective, and their price to sales has dropped incredibly low, only 2.42. Now, right now, this does have them in the electrical equipment industry, and the average there for kind of utilities or whatnot would be a 3x, which would show a little bit higher than what you're seeing here. But I don't know if I would put them at the 13x, but even 10x would still be a large increase from where they're at today. So that's something that I'm going to continue to watch. But the other thing that I'm going to be watching is those growth rates. Now, again, due to the cyclical nature of their earnings and their revenue, the most recent quarter revenue growth is not going to be the best indicator, but rather we do want to be watching the revenue growth on a trailing 12 months basis. Are they continuing to grow revenue every single year? So that's what we're going to be watching. And the follow-up to that is, can they get this gross margin increasing as well? Last quarter, they were targeting around 16 to 18%. And that's what I'm going to be watching for on a go-forward basis. If they can continue to bring on some of those larger deals and get the software associated with it, that will only help the profitability on an ongoing basis. So all in all, there's not a lot of moves with the company. We did see a very strong day going up to $6. That being said, that was on the back of a relatively weak day earlier in the week. So you can see on the 10-day chart here, we had a big drop, then a big increase. And I expect that you're going to see STEM continue to trade with the broader market and kind of this choppy action pattern that we're seeing right here until the company really announces either blowout earnings or incredibly weak guidance. So those are the things that I'm going to continue to watch. Thanks for tuning in for this update video, and I look forward to chatting and watching earnings with all of you here soon. Thanks. Talk to you later.